All right, everybody, what is going on? This is episode 683 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talking about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football, but no Georgia Southern today. We're going to get to that, the game against James Madison. We're definitely going to talk about that in the next couple of days. But I want to talk about this player who actually stepped up and played really good that nobody really talked about. Now, I was doing a segment of the shows back every Monday called Stock Up and Stock Down. Haven't been able to do that because I kind of got away from it. That's my apologies. But definitely this guy's stock would be up if we were doing that segment on every Monday. And we're going to talk about Storm Norton. Who is Storm Norton? I personally think this is Desmond Ritter's new friend because he kept Desmond Ritter upright throughout his great 320-yard passing game against the Texans. I'm going to have some clips. I'm not going to show the clips in the episode for you guys on YouTube and Rumble. I will leave the link down in the description so you can check that out because I don't know how, YouTube or Rumble does with NFL footage. I know they're kind of iffy about it. So I'm going to put the link down in the description for someone on Twitter who has it up so you can watch what Storm Norton has done to keep protection for Desmond Ritter throughout the game against the Texans, which I didn't really think about it, but it made a huge difference in the way that Desmond Ritter played compared to earlier this year, where that right side was just abysmal. So I've said enough about that. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I can be found on Twitter or X at VF Baller. And the website is firstandframerates.com. All right, let's just go ahead and get into this. Storm Norton. Who is he? Where did he come from? Well, he's a 6'7", 317-pound offensive tackle out of Toledo, Ohio. Played at Toledo. Went to high school at Whitmer in Toledo, Ohio. So he's Toledo, Ohio all the way through and through. Came through as an undrafted free agent with the Lions, jumped to the Cardinals, spent 2 years with the Vikings, spent the year with the Los Angeles Wildcats. I don't know what team is. I don't think that's XFL, is it? Yeah, it's XFL. XFL, Los Angeles Wildcats. Then he went to Los Angeles Chargers for 2 years. Then he went to the New Orleans Saints this present season, and we picked him up off the practice squad, and he was plugged in right away when Caleb McGarry went down. And this is really, really interesting because of the fact that you plug and play a guy, and he performs at a high level. Albeit it was against the Texans. I think he went up against Anderson, the rookie out of Alabama. But nevertheless, he played very well. He played 32 games, started 18, was plugged into the game against the Texans. And like I said, all that information that you want to see how well he played, the link will be down in the description if you want to watch the clips that he played when he was in the game. He looked very, very good. I don't know if that's going to carry over because you got a big test going up against the Commanders with a lot of pass rushers. But as of right now, I think he performed way better than McGarry did anytime this season. Now, it doesn't take nothing away from McGarry because I ain't going to say this season, but overall, he's a solid right tackle. I mean, we re-signed him. And sometimes when you re-sign a player, you don't get the results and, that you paid for. Sometimes guys work for the check. Not saying that McGarry is doing this. You work for that check, you get that contract extension, and all of a sudden you disappear. I mean, look at Jadeveon Clowney. I'm sorry, I like the dude, but I've seen it on too many occasions where he basically just wanted the money, and then he got the money, and then he disappears. Because look, this guy, and I don't want to go too far with this, I believe Jadeveon Clowney should have been one of the top pass rushers in the league for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I think he's been in the league that long. I don't know. But as long as he's been in the league, he should have been the top passer. I mean, this dude was an absolute monster. I don't know what happened. Injuries, laziness. I don't know. But the dude was that guy. And I don't even like the South Carolina Gamecocks. But I have to give it to him. He was that dude. Nevertheless, Storm Norton, like I said, Caleb McGarry, I don't know if it's injuries because he did get injured in this game, but he just did not live up to what he did last year when he was a top rushing attack. One thing about Norton, he's a damn good pass protector, and he protect Desmond Ritter, I don't think Desmond Ritter was sacked one time in the game. I could be wrong. But that entire right side was a lockdown with him and Lindstrom. They locked that down. I think Lindstrom's right guard. I think he was. I can't remember. But I don't know much of anything at times. I'll be on go, so I things just slip my mind. But that side was on lock. Nothing came through that side. And what we seen against the Lions, what we seen against the Jaguars, none of that stuff happened. I mean, he was there. And I believe that if he can build off this, just like Desmond Ritter, if he can build off his game from the week before, you're probably going to have a pretty solid outing for the offensive line. We'll probably see more passing. With Van Jefferson coming in, you're probably going to see more passing and more prolific passing. This helps Desmond Ritter a lot because, like I said, Desmond Ritter, to me, it felt like he's going to be an above-average quarterback. But if he gets the protection like this and he can throw the ball like he did this past week, we're probably going to be looking at way better than above average. So this is really, really good to find somebody from, the practice squad that was, kind of like a guy that's trying to find his way throughout the league. And you found a guy that had one good game, and really it was a game that the Falcons needed. What happens from here? Does he get better or does he solidify that side? Because from what I see, it looks like not too many teams gave him a chance. I don't think he was necessarily bad. It just seemed like he wasn't given like a really big chance. You look at this here. we're going to talk about the Storm Norton and let you know who he is before we get out of here. Based on Wikipedia, we're going to read it here. Norton was signed with the Detroit Lions as an undrafted free agent. He was waived. He was drafted. He was signed as undrafted May 12th, but he was waived September 17th. September 2nd, 2017. Then he was signed with the Lions practice squad the next day. Promoted to the active roster 7 days later on September 9th. Then was waived 2 days later. Then re-signed to the practice squad. What the hell the Lions are doing? Then he was released on September 25th, 2017. Then he was re-signed a month later. Then he was released a few days later. So I don't know what the Lions were doing, and I feel sorry for this guy to have to go through that. That's crazy. Okay, so then he went to Arizona. November 6th, 2017, he was signed to Arizona. And a month later, November 30th, he was released. And then he went to the Vikings December 12th, 2017. Signed to the practice squad. Then he was released January 16, 2018. So he's there for about a little bit over a month. Then he was signed to a future contract with the Vikings January 29th. Released, he was waived on September 1st. Then promoted on October 27th. Then was waived again November 13th. This is all in 2018. Then he was signed to a future contract on September 2nd, 2019. Then August 31st, 2019, he was waived by the Vikings. This is insane. I mean, just think about it, man. Going through the motions of an NFL player, this is wild. But it looks like he never had a chance to play. This is the thing. He never had a chance to play. He was selected first overall in the second phase of the Los Angeles Wildcats 2020 NFL Draft. Pro Football Focus named Norton as the highest rated offensive lineman during the COVID-19 pandemic shortened the NFL season. His contract was terminated when the league suspended operations, so that was none of his fault, but he was rated the highest offensive lineman in the XFL. So once that was over, April 10th, he was signed with the Chargers 4 days later, April 14, 2020. Didn't hear from him anymore after that. He was there. Then the New Orleans Saints signed a 1-year contract with the Saints March 16th, 2023. He was released August 29th, 2023, and re-signed to the practice squad. Then the Atlanta Falcons picked him up off the Saints practice squad on September 26th. And then now here he is now playing with the Falcons. Yeah, look, I'm not going to say that all these teams got it wrong. The Lions, Cardinals, Vikings. I think the Wildcats got it right because they let them play. The Los Angeles Chargers, the Saints. I'm not saying that they got him wrong because I don't know. Maybe it was just something there. All these teams can't be wrong. I would want to think that. But this looks like a case that they got it wrong. You know, it looked like all these teams got it wrong. It looked like Atlanta got a gem out of they got a hidden gem with Storm Norton, and this is actually really really cool because this guy did not get a chance to play for 6 years. He was in and out of practice. I mean, this is a, you know what, honestly, this is a guy I would want to sit down and let him tell his story. I would like to know his whole journey from the Lions to the Falcons right now and where he plans on going from here. Because it looks like this is an incredible story. This really is. Because it looks like they just passed over him and they missed out on some talent. Now, like I said, this is only one game. I don't know. But from what I see, this is a really good, this could be a really feel-good story, especially if he ends up beating out McGarry and plays for the rest of the season. I think this is something that people nearly need to go and interview this guy because this is one hell of a story. I can't lie. I mean, you go through 4, 5, 6 teams before you find a landing spot and actually get a chance to play. And now people are looking at you like, all right, you're outplaying you're outplaying a right tackle that was signed a good bit of money, and could you keep this up? I would like to see how you do in the run blocking scheme. I want to see you make some room for Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier, and Bijan Robinson. Make some room for those guys and see if they can run in between the tackles because you're there. Because I've seen what you can do pass rush wise, and it looked pretty good. But you're about to go up against some hogs. No pun intended, when you talk about the Washington Commanders. They used to be called the Hogs at one time. So this is a really, really cool story if, about where he came from and where he's at now. I mean, from the day he was signed on May 12, 2017 up until now, I mean, he has a really good story. Let me know what you guys think. I find this really fascinating at this point. I really want to know more about him. If you like this commentary, the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about Storm Norton, right tackle, number 77 for the Atlanta Falcons. Played pretty well against the Texans. I know it's just one game, but he seems like he's a really interesting guy. So I want to see what your thoughts are. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I appreciate you if you hit that like button and if you're sharing this podcast. And if you haven't subscribed already, I really, really appreciate it. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.